That definitely does help with the call-outs there. But as the Maverick gets taken out first, a little bit of a hit taken on the heart breach department. We'll see later how that exactly will affect the map and the takes for the attack as a result.
Oh, this is fun. It's been 2 years of us being locked in very small rooms and enjoying such a big space with such a huge amount of community, and most of them are seemingly gathered on the side bothering Pengu. he's not even getting close to them. I think he's on the phone to somebody. I'm ruining his signing over there. Kai is gone. Thatcher as well. You're getting a standard set of removals here. Yep. It's Skyscraper. It's still getting its face. It's still getting itself tested. People are developing ways, which is kind of why I'm super excited to see it in the showdown, because you only really get 2 tastes of a map. The first is when it's played in its league. You get how it goes against the region's meta, how it plays against the scene. And the second is when you do this. You get full bold and bring it onto the biggest stage there is. Barbecue Kitchen, the hungriest site in all of Siege, is where we're going to start ourselves off here with OXG leading in on a defense. And as they said before, what was it, an 80% rate?
Yeah, something like that on the, possibly. It's going to be an interesting one for sure, though. The stats might be a little bit skewed, of course. Group stage is coming in. Everything will be different now. And within a couple of seconds, we will be headed into the action phase, and we will see who will be coming out on top here as we start out on that bottom floor. The barbecue and the kitchen. Now, there's multiple ways to go at it, but what we do often see is that the geisha is of utmost importance. That will normally be taken by the attackers as well. There is that verticality that just covers up the kitchen. That is so important for that attack.
Now, it's a quick change of an attacker repick here for the side of BDS. And obviously, they talked about it on the desk, but there's going to be a lot of eyes between Nuez and Shaiko. Both big Finker players, both having fantastic seasons so far, but you've also got to look at how it brings into the grander scheme of things, because throughout the NAL season, whether he was finding his feet or not, he was the lowest rated player for OXG. He's come into this tournament, he's had an absolute storm across the board, and there's something about the energy here, whether it's just getting into your first mage or the adverse effect that others otherwise don't always suffer. Fox tries to find an early pick there out the window, can't quite get the connection, gonna head his way back upstairs, and as he said before, it's important real estate to hold on to.
You want to try with some, to start off with some fire there, right? Yeah, if he was able to find that entry kill instantly, that round would have been completely different, but he tried. He unfortunately was unable to find anything, and as some quick drones coming around from BDS now up on that top floor up near the karaoke and tea room. Shako's well aware of the fact that someone's going to be out here now.
Well, he's going to try and apply some pressure over the side and the top. He's in a dangerous spot. We've seen swings on this side many, many times. Vert has everything he needs to stay a little bit happy and pretty over here. Anything to keep that shield as long as possible. It's a power position to hold, not really just to try and pick fights. You can get bold if you really want to, but at the same time, the main drive of it is to just sort of keep them at bay. Bit of a scrappy fight over the top, but they're able to just pull themselves back here. A minute gone, a shield as well. Vert, he's eyeing the idea of sticking around and singing a sweet song inside karaoke, but the pressure's coming in a little bit French.
Yeah, there is definitely some breaching charges being used from Upload as Rafal with a bit of a floor bang onto vertical. Opens it up for BDS, and let's see if they can elevate on the back of this one.
Well, now down into the main hallway, almost the catch on the Banshee, gets it the second time round, concerned, but Rafal will be watching the rotator. Lems is able to find Dream as well, the pick right in the middle of tea room, but he's tucked in. Do they know that he's sitting there in the gold corner? It could turn into a massive blow. He just sees a couple of traces that come through from the side, swings back to see if he can get the pick onto Geisha. But again, it's this game of playing them at a bit of arm's length. This is important territory, but you don't want to die for it, and there he is. One more catch and one more close down from BDS.
Rhythm Nitro gets tossed up. He's not going to be able to find anything just yet, but as soon as the pressure onto Geisha starts coming through, you might be able to find one or two, and possibly even a diffuser, and that could save the route for Oxygen here, because a 5-on-2 is not looking too good, especially with them knocking onto the door of the barbecue now.
That's it. It's a lot of time here for OXG to see if they can hold off this, the French attack. They've got themselves stacked up all the way over the top floor. They're still formulating and building themselves around towards barbecue and sushi at this point. That entire restaurant is becoming their territory, but they still have time to drone. They still have time to try and apply some pressure onto the softs above. The C4's popped a little bit early, opens an angle, and he's got to make sure he has the caution to just avoid any of the hellfire coming down from above. 30 seconds, one more for Alems to find himself a double, and it is an opening flawless for BDS.
What a way to start it off on the stage here. Cool, calm, and collected on their side. They are an experienced roster, an experienced lineup. Never quite able to make it just to the end, however, though. They came into this tournament maybe not as favorites, but more as underdogs, BDS, and maybe that suits them. Who knows? We'll have to wait till we truly will find out. But as that first one heads their way, Karaoke and T, normally what we do see as a primary site, is going to be up next. So OXG might have been trying to go for a bit of a curveball there, hoping they would be able to throw BDS off guard. Unfortunately, that failed.
Attackers need to locate
OXG, bit of a false start there. I think it's the fairest way of putting it. They're going to head up to a site that most people are more familiar with as an early pick. You'll often see this top floor be the biggest stretch. It gives you the width, and it gives you the ability to play that fullback defense with a lot of the support of the structure, the hard walls, especially around the side of Dragon and over towards the mezzanine and drum. It's that little sort of blockade. It's where you tuck yourself in on the close corners, you play that shield game, but this time you'll at least have a lot more support coming through from the players, maybe on the main stairs, maybe on the backside of Black. You have things, and things are very important in a game built on utility and takes especially as clean as BDS's first approach was.
And Montaigne is being brought out here by Rafal. That could be quite interesting. Now, we all know that, especially if you want to go for a take around the balcony onto the office, it could be quite important as a clash could be against you, but it's not the side we're playing at. So it's going to be good to see how they'll use that operator, use that big shield to try and shepherd out these players of Oxygen into vulnerable positions for the likes of Alems and Shaiko to pick them up.
Well, Rafal, where are you going? Because last time you were the first lead on this, but this time it's Noyes able to get the opener take here against Alems. There's a bit of a strike back and a return to force for a player that I think if you're an NA fan, you probably want to be leading this game with it. BDS on the back foot for the first time this showdown so far, early doors, but how are they going to build from behind it? Because the one big problem that you often have with this map is rotates around a top floor take are huge.
There definitely are. There is a lot of ways in, there's a lot of ways out, especially if you have no control of the mezzanine area. As an attacker, the defenders have free rotations all over the map. And with 2 minutes left on the clock now, OXG, they still have that man advantage. Some late reinforcements are being brought in, but Rafal with that shield is starting to come up the back stairs. He's hoping to push up with Shaiko on that LMG as cover over his shoulder.
Waiting patiently and just offering themselves a bit of that width I talked about before. You can see Rafal, he's getting a clear eye down the hallway. They can see the site itself, but with all the stacked up players there of OXG, you're not really going to get any further. They still have the control over on the far side towards Dragon. They don't have to pull back if they want to. They know they have that sight line, an important one between the two doors. How are they going to find the first catch? They're almost on the wing of gold, but they can't quite get the pre-fire in the right angle. Lax, he's dancing this way and that way, and you've got the cover there of Noyes as well. Where can you go, BDS? Well, through there.
Danger coming in there from the side of Shaiko, eventually confirmed as well. T now a little bit clearer, but it's still on a Rooney that has just retaken that position. Shaiko finds out as the P10 Rooney sinks just ever so shortly, so they know there's someone else they need to deal with. However, still players around in the top of mezzanines that could be coming in for a big flank.
The smoke starts to pop there. Rafal's entrance is locked out, but you look at Playday on the far side of the window and you know what he can do. He's being watched by Geisha. It's a bit of a mess here and somebody's trying to find the end of the string to start pulling it. The grenade is the pin and it doesn't quite get finished off as they see the slip by, but they're still alive. Another canister. Looks like it was rolled and ready to go, but it's the grenade round to the tucked-in corner. Dream caught out there, and it's a bit of a blow, but 30 seconds. And you can see Oxygen. They still have the angle. They still have the rotate. Now they're going to see if they can get the plant through the smoke. Big one coming now from Laxing all the way underneath. He's not entirely contested. The C4's in the wrong place to post plant on the second round, and with a Monty on the board, well, it's a little bit of a problem.
It's definitely going to be an issue here. They need to find a way to get rid of the Montaigne of the remaining BDS players as well. Laxing coming up the back stairs, gets a first straight kill. Looking for a second, but the vertical finds that instead. Suddenly a 3-on-2, they're trying to bring it back, but the Montaigne is posing a bit of an issue here. It's only after a foul. Gets the knife kill confirmed, but gets taken out by Foxay, and that means that the diffuser will be disabled, and Oxygen are going to be able to bring it back even.
A huge rotate there from Lax all the way up the back black stairs and made sure he made it count. When you have a Monty on the board in that sort of situation, oh, that is a tough mental game. That is such a sort of monolithic approach that you have to try and knock aside. And got to give credit to OXG. This is what they do best, which is this quick game, this sharp sort of multifaceted gunplay. Barbecue and Kitchen is where we're going to rotate our way back down to. They think they've warmed up enough to actually find something delicious here.
Now, it was a flawless round the last time we were here from BDS. That was, of course, round one, not too long ago. So something does need to change. completely on this side. They need to make sure they find those entries. They need to deny BDS of their quick entrances that they were able to find before. Some repicks are coming through. The Ging is out, so is the Thermite, and the Nash and the Hibana are bringing back in. And that is basically the exact same lineup we saw from BDS in that first round.
If it works, why change it? And that's kind of the BDS ethos. They sort of set themselves up on this pedestal of, well, we know what we do very well, and we're going to leave it to the others to try and knock us off. They are so, I don't want to use the word formulaic, but they have a formula. And if you can get to the end of it, some teams can find them kind of quickly pulled apart, but they still trust in the system, trust in the process. And to be fair, on a map like this, where OXG haven't really found a preference for it, this is the truest test. How much of this is your map, and where are you going, Newers?
He's looking for a repel, possibly just that little sound that could lead him to an entry kill for Oxygen. He's waiting patiently, but they're not really entering from that area just yet, and I don't think it will come either. I think that he went for an attempt again, but BDS not really giving away anything here at the start of the round. With 2 minutes 30 on that clock, they're trying to put some vertical pressure up towards the dining area.
Now, Alems as a player is such a big part of BDS's approach, but he hasn't had a great tournament so far. Usually, on a big stage, you always hear him getting vocal, and, well, it's Newers that gets one, and there's the man I was talking about getting a bit of revenge. Renshiro follows it up once again, Dream removed by a well-played and placed grenade. It's Newers doing his best to try and fight back, stop the flow, and see if they can at least keep some control. Fox finds Shaiko on the other side of the map, and there's a bit of a slip back out there and towards Pantry, a moment to breathe. Can they find an isolated fight? No, is the answer.
One through the window, Foxay through the hatch, and able to find a connection to Rafal. Small amounts of damage done, and as he decides to drop and head into the pantry, he's looking to play this more vertically. Takes a small amount of damage on the way out, however, as Lexing finds a lens, brings it back to a 2-on-2. The diffuser is cold on the ground, and with 90 seconds on that clock, BDS need to recover it, as Lexing finds a second and takes out Renshiro.
Lex had an idea, and he made sure it came together. Rafal, he's all that's left here on this Ash. The slow approach around the other side. There's the reveal and the pickup of the kit. He has a minute, and there's a man behind the bar. The only thing he's serving is pain. It's a 1 versus 1. Fox is on the second story. He's got all the vertical control right now, and Rafal is probably well aware, although he might be a little bit missed. There it is!
A couple of toe shots coming in. We saw a European League final being decided away like that. Well played there. They use that verticality, and that is why it's key. Just barely able to spot out Rafal there, but enough to find the kill eventually. And Oxygen leading 2-1. Find the win on Barbecue. The bedroom is up next. The bathroom is up next. We're not headed towards exhibition. We're headed towards the bedroom bottom floor instead.
I'm wondering if Rafal had a full sense of security there, because, you know, as I said, he might have an idea that Fox is the vertical. That's where the kill came through from before, and he thought, well, I'll save it. Will I get shot? I didn't get shot. Maybe I can plant here. Oh, there's some feet.
The feet, always the giveaway, unfortunately, there. And as we see some frost mats that he set up, I'm wondering if those will be spotted out or will catch some French legs off guard, as they will be trying to proceed towards the bomb site. Now again, top floor important here. Most likely we will see BDS try and go for a full clear out there, but it could be quite dangerous. And if there's too many players up top, they might decide to, you know what, it is time to just abandon that ID, overwhelm them on the site, and see if we can find success that way.
It's been a bit of a back and forth so far, which is kind of what you wanted from this series, with how these teams have got to this position, and with how, to be fair, they haven't been as smooth sailing as we often expect from these rosters. Okay, OXG, it's a fresh set. It is obviously 2 massive changes. You try and go back with statistics, and they're a little bit dirty by the fact that you're missing 2 players on any international stage, but then you also see the fact that they've only lost 1 map against any EU teams in international play in about 2.5 years to Rogue. So they're doing pretty good against our region, as much as it pains me to say. Let's see if they can keep that pain going. They've got the advantage for the first time. They're trying to find some pressure there through it, but it's Newers that finds the head of Shaiko.
It's the 3rd entry for Newers there. He's definitely trying to make life difficult here for BDS, and again, they're on the back foot here. Now, Supreme fires are attempted by Renshiro, maybe to get a grenade around the corner in just a little bit, but there's 3 ADSs, I believe, set up on that window, so I doubt he's going to be finding too much success out there.
Well, the approach towards the site, the objective play is something that they love to drive themselves to. And as I said before, it's the formula. It's seeing if they can try and cook the pressure in. But when you're working with one less body, how can you bring that together? They almost did with the Monty push, apart from a fantastic retake. Here, OXG, they're making sure there's no ground. The play on the Bandit. Did it get the catch?
Yes,
he did. Just in the middle, across both. And that is, I mean, a Bandit trick.
And now the ADSs will have recharged as well. Another grenade is not going to be possible anytime soon, so they have to find a different way to get rid of these bandit wires or explore a different option altogether here. So Rafal knocking on the front door is going to be seeing someone sneak by. Snivers finds another kill, gets punished however.
Well, they're just trying to charge their way into sight, and Vertical is eating them up from the corner there. They still have the vertical control. Rafal once again. Well, I was going to say alone, but it wasn't for very long. Vert with a triple.
Well played by them there, and I said it before, BDS wants to get that top 4 control. They use their utility Emmy, but the bandit trick still out there, just having the confidence to get on it, to just put down that bandit wire again, because the ADSs would be recharging as there was 3 in that position. And Oxygen now leading 3-1 very comfortably here in a map that, over the 2 times it has been played over the majors so far, has a 40% defensive win rate.
Oh.
Now, the sample size, not too big, of course, it's just 2 plays, but Oxygen with that, statistically, doing very well here.
Are you running some wrestling numbers? Is that the 33 1/3% chance to win there? It's a team with an 80% defensive chance on a map with a 40% defensive win rate, currently sitting, well, with a chance at more than 50. They're doing very good, and, well, that's why we're here now. It bears repeating that this is BDS's map pick. This is where they wanted to bring the fight, and it was a mixed bag for them. Obviously, you've got a couple of bans by the time you get to this selection, but they expected it to go a lot better, and I guess when you're up against the expectations of only what you've heard a team does on scrims, because we haven't seen OXG play this map in comp, well, sometimes you get results like this, and they've got to see if they can try and get their heads back in the game and play the game that they know they can.
That's it, right? They need to go for that reset. That's where the tactical timeout came through. Have bias, give him an opportunity to talk to you. 45 seconds. See if that is going to be the change that you need over your game. Now, round 5, back towards the tea room and karaoke. This one did get quite a bit closer the last time around. The plant came off. It was a Monty on the board. However, they were able to clutch it out on the OXG side. Is that going to repeat itself?
Bit of an extension here, over to the opposite side of the map. As we said, the second story gives you that room for growth. It gives you a room for hold, and BDS tried to ignore it. They just tried to throw themselves through directly onto the site and find a plant on the corner there, and there's a bit of an opening, and there's a hope. Is this going to be a run-up? Is it going to be a C4? I mean, Fox is waiting.
They're definitely waiting for it. He's looking to go at it as well. Potentially just waiting for
it's a grenade.
It's a grenade coming indeed. He probably heard that pin going out because he pulls back. Nothing's being tossed just yet. Everybody keeps their life.
Everybody's aware of everybody, but nobody's 100% sure. I mean, there it is. Gets locked up. I think they knew that their number was cooked, so they're not going to see how they ended that. Fox, and Lax, they're going to try and pull themselves back towards maybe a little bit more of the safety of the site, but they've definitely drawn a huge focus here at BDS. As I said before, they went for a direct take onto the site. This time, 2 drones almost caught out. The second swings its way back round, pre-fires through softs, which is something that has already netted BDS a couple of kills here, and, well, they've still got the hearts, so may as well get them down.
If it's safe, if you have the opportunity to. It was quite close, though, with Shaiko knocking on that door just on the other side of it. He's not going to be able to find anything here. Minute has passed, no one has died. And with that, we're still in a 5-on-5 situation here where it seems like BDS wants to push through Dragon, through Terrace, look towards the drum area, and maybe go directly for the site itself.
That is usually quite a big power position in EU. That shield spot, which you'll probably see Ranchiro playing it on the defense there, just around the top on the swing onto gold, and the door of T in here. Well, NA's sort of giving a couple of questions, but they're not holding it. They're not being as aggressive in terms of utility. Instead, they're playing like this. Buried underneath, waiting to see if they can try and catch and spring a surprise trap. Just over a minute left and a couple of players still underneath. BDS, it's a slow approach. They're being overtly cautious. And whether it's because of the timeout, whether they just think they can try and pinch and pull an OXG player that's a bit loose and see if they can tame them, well, the answer there is no.
Well, there's only 60 seconds left, Emmy. They need to go quite explosive here. I think the T-room is the only way they can really go for a plan, so an entry is what BDS needs to find. And with the time slowly ticking down, Oxygen knows as well they can just stay put, they can just stay passively, because there's otherwise no way that BDS is going to be able to get a pick.
Concerned about the idea of a Vault cam, but you can see the pings come to the player down below. They know that Fox is there. Do they make the decision? Do we find the fight, or do we just try and fire our way through the site? There's Alems, finds that one. They have some control. Rafal quickly picks up a second here, and now they got some control. But you've got to look at where they are and where the site is, and Lax is. He stops Alems in his tracks. They're trying to drive the kick closer and closer, but as the wall gets caught, there's no trick in that. About 15 seconds left now. OXG, they're dodge diving and can't quite find any semblance of safety, but here, the blind over the side of gold. Nobody's connected apart from a trade-off on the back-end side. They're in! The kick's gold! Newers is doing everything to hold himself in the corner. Dream's still kicking. He's fine on the other side with the smoke canisters. A proverbial 1 versus 1. Dream, he can't get it. Rafal gets the connection.
BDS able to just pull that one off, and you know, it is literally just pulling that one off. There was about 30 seconds left when they went for that execute. The diffuser was even dropped on the way there with a smoke canister blocking it off. They needed to push aggressively, and it started planting with roughly 2-3 seconds left on the clock there. So BDS find their second round. Oxygen just not able to go for that fourth yet, but there is still an extra defensive round on the board, and guess what? We're going back to barbecue.
They're hungry.
I mean,
it's been a back and forth. It's barbecue kitchen, sushi, restaurant. If anybody's hungry, it's around lunchtime. This is the site that gets you more focused on it. OXG, as we said, they've already done technically and statistically more than enough on their defense on this, which isn't their map. You're looking at this being at least good. Not great, though. And they're a team that's had these great statistics. They came in, as they said on the desk, the biggest question was their group a little bit too straightforward for them? Obviously, it was missing a team, and it was otherwise a clean sweep. They were going to be stressed and tested here by BDS, but they are a team that likes that. They love to lean in to the aggression. They're the reason that they're always here on this, the grandest stage.
Is BDS going to be able to put up a third round on the board, or will Oxygen find their fourth for the split? That is going to be that big question for these next 3 minutes. Newers again is going to be attempting for a bit of a spawn peek here. Will he find his fourth of this matchup, the fourth entry kill? Someone did get quite close, but I believe they just ran away.
They're learning to have a little bit of a fear towards the young guns of NA, and yeah, you should. He's having a great statistical run there on the entry, as he said, 4 of them going into his favor, and from early strikes like that, you can see why it's so important. BDS having to try and rebuild with a man deficit over and over again. Okay, sure, they can have these conversations, but you're looking at Shaiko 1-4 being the top player. He is really missing a trick right now. The pressure down towards the shield once again, much quicker. Vert takes a bit of damage from the side of the explosives on the far side, and you can see OXG has pulled themselves back. They've gone back to a little bit more of a plan A. Rafal's stacked up, but at this point you can see OXG's learned. They've pulled away. They're not playing that position anymore.
Drone being set up, just ready to jump in, and well, they hope to find some information. The question is, can they? Because BDS, again, a minute wasted, just knocking onto the sides of the building now, not really inside anywhere but the top of the back stairs here. Shaiko with the LMG will get some pings. He's unable to connect, but he's also aware of the fact that someone could be coming from below him, as a couple of shots do connect with him.
I mean, I love this from OXG. They're just biting, they're nipping at the heels in the approach, and BDS has to stop. They have to try and take count of where everybody is. The drones start rolling once again, but you can see all the 3 OXG players that were putting the pressure on have since moved off. Dream, he's watching the backside. They still have the long angle all the way from Geisha. He's a bit stuck here on the stairs, and OXG, well, they don't have to do anything. Right now, they can just let BDS keep hitting their heads against this hold, and there's only so much that you can do whilst you're trying to get some structure and drone it out, and Shaiko thinks he can do it down here.
Yeah, they just found out that the T-room is indeed empty. That means those 3 have moved off, and Shaiko looking to find an entry elsewhere. But pings are still coming in top floor, and that is where they need to find that kill. Lem's going quite aggressive here around the corner. He is hiding behind those boxes. Will he find him?
Huge bit of impact there to Shaiko on the backside. I think a C4 pop, but Alems, he's able to keep driving. The Finker is just boosting them, but now we're looking at about 40 seconds wasted in this engagement alone. Rafal, he suffers next in the fight. OXG still just keeping them at bay. That grenade rolls too deep. Fox, he's cool as ever as he sits and waits, but then Finally, Shaiko is able to find a connection, but only 30 seconds left. So much time wasted. Newers bites back, finishes off Rafal. Laxing is trying to get him from range. He's saying, I'm still up here. You got to deal with me, and there's people below too. Alems finds them through a couple of softs. Newers is off the board, but so is most of the time Renshiro. He gets one more, 2 versus 4, but Vertical is back serving it up over the split. 10 seconds left. They're going to see if they can try and stick it around on the far side. There's Vert going closer and closer here. You've suffered quite a lot. It's a 3 versus 1. It's just Dream. He's able to find the first here. He's looking for the kit. Alems is the connection.
Alems able to lock it out there, and again, BDS left it to quite late. They left it to those very final couple seconds. They went for the diffuser. Fortunately for them, this time around, the cover in position to lock off those last members of Oxygen, but it seems like where Oxygen was going to be able to walk away with that round and that half early on, BDS is definitely starting to fight back here. We have an equal half, and we're looking up towards that second one with BDS down to the defense and Oxygen on the attack. Who can make the difference?
So the other half of this game is one where we really get a true taste of this map. As I said, it's a learning experience. You bring a fresh map from a pool, regardless of its history, it's fresh for now, into an international scene with different region teams. It's a learning experience. You're gonna find new things out and how they test each other, and the most notable is this. The starting site is one that was otherwise pretty much avoided by everything there from the side of NA, even if just taking it, but the holding of it as well. They had a bit of a gambit with it, but it becomes quite a big focus for EU teams.
Now, what I said there as well is if you play for Exhibition, it's something we saw occurring into APAC North first. The Clash coming out to play on that balcony just to be spotted almost permanently there. And it's also being brought out now. Rafal bringing that shield is going to be playing out on that balcony as well, just to make life difficult for OXG. A quick bit of barbed wire there to slow them down as they come around the corner, but
just a little bit something extra.
That shield is going to be making a difference there.
Well, Rafal, as we said, the Clash, they're going to cause some problems. A second set of barbs on the VIP stairs, and now they'll find their way back through. The Clash shield, they're just going to be such a problem. It's going to be something where OXG, you got to either deal with it, or you got to try and find a plan B, because, well, he is happy to sit and wait. He has the cover. If he gets stunned, he can pull himself around the corner, and there's no way to get him from underneath. You got to be very clever with the approach here, or very costly. A massive battle for attrition can happen over that single corner based on a clever Clash and a huge amount of pocket utility.
And the Clash every now and then is showing herself out through this balcony. Now one person spots it out. They know that a bit of a push, a bit of a take is starting to come that direction. But did I see that well? Did they just open up the main wall on BDS's side from the Exhibition side? Are they going to be going aggressive through there?
Well, they have the air jab on the corner at this point. The Clash, they're held off. They're happy to sit and watch each other and see if they can try and get something to work. Vert, he's finding his way underneath the slow crawl of the BDS players to see if they can get in position to maybe try and cause some drama, but you can see this is what I was talking about. OXG said, well, it's a huge dedication just to get that Clash, just to get that corner and get that wall. Let's try and push somewhere else. The somewhere else currently has Shaiko sat on the stairs, being droned out and waiting for a little bit more pressure. Pulls himself back, but caught. The upside down rappel, as he said, that wall, yeah, it came in handy.
Yeah, they opened that one up. Nur is able to find his 4th entry kill of this game so far. He's on fire. And BDS now with a man down with 74 seconds left on that clock. Are they going to be able to hold off? Is Oxygen with this entry going to be able to snowball them onto the sides? Well, only time will tell as Foxe ascends the stairs.
Yeah, he's looking to see if anybody might drop the rotate. It is possible and plausible, but Alems, he's trying to keep a little bit more of a flat fight here to make sure they don't swing in. Renshiro and Playday, and Alems across the board finds another one, but he can maybe get himself up. No, his stim was out of juice. It's now just Laxing. He's able to get a great take there onto Renshiro. 40 seconds left, and he spent most of the previous round staring at a Clash. Oh, wait, she's still here. And in a 3 versus 1, oh, that's not the most comfortable.
It's definitely not going to be comfortable indeed, and especially without any extra air jabs or flashbangs left to play with. He jumps in and Playday finds the kill. They lock it up for BDS, and they take the lead again.
You're still looking at BDS trying to warm up, and that's the big worry, because if we're going to keep harping on about the comparisons between Newers and Shaiko, Newers keeps getting into this game, and sure, there's been a bit of a sort of death to most of the kills he's been able to take. He hasn't been able to have the cleanest route through as he has throughout the rest of the groups, but he's still causing an impact. Shaiko there, he's kind of forced into an uncomfortable situation. Instead of trying to maybe lean into the fight on the wall that was opened, whether he knew it or not, he misses the swing. He goes straight in, and it's just an easy pickup at that point for the Finker.
Now, a tactical timeout for Oxygen, because ever since BDS called theirs, they were able to find 3 in a row. Are they going to be looking to return that favor? Are they going to be looking to push themselves to 6 now? Big question left unanswered here. And there's only so much you can do within that time. So many pointers you can give, so many changes you can make. And as we look to head towards the next site, very soon, that BDS will bring. It is Oxygen that is focused. It is Oxygen that is having a bit of a talk right here. They want to be performing in front of their home crowd.
I mean, someone from NA's got it.
They definitely have to. They want to win this tournament. They want to do it in front of their home crowd. They want to hear those cheers just for them.
OXG. Conversation, will it lead to a little bit more success? As you said, it did for the French opponents here. BDS, okay, it's their map, and they've been able to bite their way back in, but I still think they haven't reached a pace they've been able to put before. And we know OXG can find another gear, and we know they like to do it at majors as well. It's that potential drive here towards the side. The objective play, which is something that has been pretty good for them throughout this tournament so far. The new structure, which is obviously slightly different because of the roster changes to the last one they brought to the international stage. The risk here is you're up against one of the best objective teams in the world in BDS.
Yeah, for sure. And even though it didn't really show that much in their group stages, I mean, they had, I believe, 11 plans in, let me check how many rounds that was. I believe that was something over 20, 33 rounds, attacking rounds. That is. That's a 33% planned ratio. It is quite a bit, actually, for the side of BDS. Oxygen was a little bit lacking on the back of that.
Seems like a more direct entrance, and Rafal has a quick French exit there. He's able to get rid of Newers, and, well, it's one of the rare times that statistic has actually gone against him, but he's still trying to get engaged and still does a lot of damage towards Rafal. They've lost a lot of utility, though, and they've obviously lost a big player. As I said, he's still suffering with that even balance on it. So now it's up to the other guns of OXG, which have not quite been as locked in as his is, to see if they can try and bring it together. BDS did when they had lost an opening pick and found themselves finding out the round later on anyway, so it's down to see if NA can prove otherwise.
2 minutes on that clock, Emmy. BDS with a minute advantage here on that defense. We are headed towards the T room eventually. Renshiro is looking to have some cheeky peeks left and right.
Do they know?
That's the big question. Do they know? I mean, the drone is starting to come through. Have they spotted Rafal? I doubt they have.
Oh, he's waiting. He's waiting. He's heard. That
there
one
it is.
definitely did. Does he know how close they are? Well, you can see Lax is trying to find his way on the other side. The C4 doesn't get the catch, but Dream finds Shaiko in the meantime somewhere else on the site. Now Rafal gets dropped. He couldn't quite get any connection there. A very quick return from OXG. They pick up a couple of bodies, and they still have so much time left. And last time they went for a very quick push onto the site, and it all fell apart. Here, they now have that man advantage. They have a lot of work done underneath. They're paying keen attention towards the places and locations, and the 3 remaining BDS players, they pulled themselves up. They've got to see if they can try and find the route that OXG wants to take to the site.
60 seconds, someone spotted on the rappel there. Alems, are you going to be able to find that kill? You spot out a player, but take some damage instead of dealing it here. He actually get killed. It's a 4-on-2. BDS, you might be giving away this round here. 48 seconds. It's Renshiro. It's Playday. Are they going to be able to clutch this? Is Oxygen going to be able to equalize the score again?
A really curious misplay there, whether he thought he was more safe, but OXG leans into fights, and that's a lesson. If you're going to learn it, well, you just learn it the hard way. Playday. He's got 30 seconds and a pocket full of smokes, and he wants to see if he can try and stop anything that comes through here on the backside of the black stairs, but OXG is probably just going to try and strong arm and force their way through. The second goes off, and the pressure down towards the backswing on the shield on the far side. Where you going, Renshiro? You're eyeing up the possibility of a jump out, but when you got a Nomad on the board, it's cautious. There's the first spray. There's the smoke onto the plant spot. They're going to see if they can try and put pressure. Dreams down, and so's the kit. A handful of seconds to Renshiro. I assume a jump out onto Foxay gets one more. Vert. He grabs the kit and goes as deep as he can behind the hard wall. There's cover from Lax on the corridor. A huge kill he needs to try and get. They got to get mobile. Misses the first. It's a post plant. There's Vert for one and Lax for two.
They managed to hold it off in the end there. The plant goes down, even though Playday was able to stop that in the very first occasion. And they hold it off. Oxygen, the cover on point from Geisha. And now 4-on-4. equalize the score yet again. Round 9 soon to start, and we are headed towards karaoke and tea. And the crowd is starting to live up here a little bit here. The OXGs are starting to come in.
There's the crowd that I expected to hear. And 4-4 OXG, they are keeping pace, very importantly. The round after you attack timeout is one of the most important if things are going against you, because you need to keep that momentum. You need that swing, and BDS think they were close enough to be able to bring that back round. The quick change of hands, lax moving as soon as the call came through. I'm not sure if it was Intel or Bert just said, man, I need you. But he swung to the most important player to try and drop there, because if he can get that kill and then he gets dropped in the trade, Vert will still get the plant off. He's in a 1 versus 1, and you kind of trust him in that situation.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You need to make sure that the objective gets played first, and after that you worry about that clutch that needed to come through. Oxygen, 4-4 on attack. After their tactical timeout, they find success. Can they do it again on the exact same bomb site we played just a couple of minutes ago? Round 9. Now, what can BDS do different? I think the entry that was great. But then they lost 2 players on that bottom floor. That might have been a little bit too unnecessary there. Maybe they need to play that a little bit more safe. Start pulling them back at some point in the round, which could bring them success.
OXG, they had a bit of growth here. Now they can try and cement it and double down and keep this game back and forth. It's only been a handful of rounds. It's not really been a true sort of scrappy, we'll take one and we'll take that one back. And here they're going to see if they can try and, I guess, drive that momentum in the same way. A couple of breaches above, a couple of angles. Pantry is a little bit dangerous as he sees the gunfire, but he's just going to move through, and that could be huge. If he's now uncontested down here, if they think, well, nobody's getting past here, they might be proved wrong in the worst way.
Could definitely be indeed, but I don't think there's any BDS member currently around the restaurant, sushi, or barbecue area. So with that, I mean, you're giving some ground away. They can use that vertically, but you're not at direct risk of losing anybody out to those players out there. Except, of course, if any grenades start coming in from that direction.
More control of the space. With the Nomad, which has been pretty consistent across them, they're just refusing to let those big rotations come through, which, to be fair, you have to be a bit particular with it, especially when you have the big jump-offs on some mezzanine from Drum and the play you can do around restaurant. It's kind of dangerous to get a full faith trust in. Shaiko, he slips away. He's not quite caught, but it wouldn't be the first time if he got caught escaping. Opens up the potential of a jump out just to put a bit of fear into the player around on that side and make sure that, well, there's a presence known here. As Fox wants to drive up, it's Dream that cuts the first. And does Shaiko know somebody's playing around the bottom of the stairs? He's waiting for the pressure from 2 different sides. He's got a bit of an idea.
It's an idea indeed. He will find it eventually. Someone up in his door as well. Is he going to find that kill? No, Newers will lock him off a 4-on-3. BDS again on the back foot here. Shaiko shortly brought it back. Are they going to be able to take that lead yet once more? 50 seconds, and we're still in the tea and karaoke room.
Well, Dream, he's hovering with a kit around on the window. He wants to go for a swing in. You can see they've gone for a very different approach here to not play against that. The C4 obviously dropped, but at that point, there it is. Can't quite get it. There's a miss on the second. He's behind a hard wall. Dream is in a great position to try and finish this. They can't get the angle. The C4 doesn't get it. News has the lockdown on the corridor. A post plant. 4 versus 2. Lax, he's hanging out on the far side. He has no problems. Neither does Dream. The kid is planted. He's sitting on it. It's a Lems versus the world at this point. And he's able to at least take the first. A great take there. Swung around onto the second. You can see Dream's gone for the rotate now to play around gold. He's hoping he's gone uncontested. The drop on the hatch in 20 seconds. Did he know? I don't know. But now, well, I don't know if he has enough time to get all the way back around. The rotates through. Couple of pre-fires and peppers. No connection. There's another second fantastic take. Unable to find the third. OXG back in the lead.
OXG on 5, 2 more rounds away for the first map to head into their direction. And BDS were a little bit more sloppy on this one, I would dare to say. They weren't quite able to have that early connection that they were able to find before. Instead, found themselves on the back foot quite quickly here. And as they themselves now will avoid barbecue, but head towards the bedroom and the bathroom instead, they know this is a very important round. Because this could be a map point coming in for the side of Oxygen, and they want to avoid that at all costs.
I mean, you have to respond at this point. You cannot let them start threading these rounds together after their timeout, because well, the game's in full motion. You've used yours, and this is the place where you wanted to play. And okay, we're heading to Oregon next. It's a sort of back and forth between both of them, and ending on a club, it's really anyone's up in the air. But when statistically a map favors you, as this one might, based on all the information that we have outside of the closed door stuff, ooh, it paints a little bit of a worry because we're seeing them miss. We're seeing them unable to truly get into the game. I said about Alems, I wanted to see more of him, and I have, but I didn't want to see less of the rest of the roster.
And that's it. People like Shaiko currently not really showing up to the fullest of their capabilities yet, and that might be what is holding BDS back currently. That might be what is allowing Oxygen to get into this first map on that advantage that they currently have. That and Newers, of course, getting 4 entries, looking for his 5th. Some of these walls, some of these doors are starting to open up. Is he going to be able to find Shaiko, who's looking to go aggressive here? He has been spotted, but decides to go for the swing anyway.
Well, another drone, another slip by, and another hold from a bit of an angle. He's hoping to get a pixel. The grenade goes close, and it's a bit of an awkward one to try and throw yourself in. That wall's currently locked. It's a pop just round in the corner, the VIP wall. There it is. It's open. It's gone. Rafal, he's going to see if he can hold on. The play of the Mozzie to try and control the rampant intel information that's been so good, and Shaiko finds one. An important take there. Newers off the board underneath, and well, that sort of says, well, we still have to try and clear above, but they're locked in down there.
They are locked in, at least for now, and you see that Oxygen, they still want to open up that double wall near the exhibition, and they needed a little bit of help, and Foxe is going to be providing just that. Has a breaching charge left, is going to be using that to get rid of those Bennett wires from below, but they need to make sure that there's nothing there to stop it. Indeed, there's not. A small opening made, but just only on the right-hand side, so Dream almost losing an extra 30 there.
It's enough. It's enough to get him through, and that's the important part because, well, they're doing it with pace. Although they're a body down, they made it work before, and they're going to see if they can try and make it work again. The drop of the drone, Ranchiro is just trying to find some semblance of safety, but nothing is seemingly there right now. OXG, they've forced that vertical play. They've pushed them back, and sure, there's always the worry of a retake, which is why they've had the Nomad so frequently, but you know they've had the Nomad so frequently, so it's another thing you got to think about here.
Rafal opening up with the Nitro Cellar, at least the opportunity to. Will find out no one's out there, but Shaiko finds Foxe on the other side of the map. Vertical is looking to find a return. He's not quite able to find a challenge just yet, so decides to answer with a frag grenade.
Down onto the side. Oh! Bye-bye, Rafal. Taking out the back of Dragon, you can see Renshiro hot foot sit on a rotate onto drum to try and retake the angle. Shaiko, he tries to find his 3rd for the trouble there. The Trace has come a little bit back towards him. You can see some pressure's about to come down from VIP stairs, and they've got the window hold on the opposite side. 3 different angles are closing down here onto Shaiko. He's got the cover and support of Playday to make sure they don't just hop in behind him. The flashes come through, and there's Dream. Finds 2, gets a huge and important take here. Lack swings round. Shaiko with 2 more! A quad kill for Shaiko! He's looking for the last connection. Renshiro takes it! But I said we wanted more, and he said we.
He responded indeed. A 4K coming in. The ace has the opportunity, if it wasn't for his teammate, there to shut it out. And now it's 5-5. And that means this next round is going to be deciding who's going to have a map point to go their way. There's no 3 points here. It is just going to be maps that matter the most. And whoever takes that first is going to be headed into the second one with a little bit more ease, a little bit less pressure. And as the exhibition is coming back on the board here for BDS, so is the clash.
Are they going to try and deal with the clash? It's sort of that question because they didn't before. They had an awareness of it, they had Lax watching it, and they had the air jab, so she couldn't go aggressive. We've seen air jabs go up against the clash on this map in the hands of BDS before, and usually they just wait until it's clear and then walk into it and get rid of it. They know how to play against it. So it kind of begs the question, how do you put a little bit more pressure on? How do you drive yourself into that position? You could potentially, if you're OXG, pick up and try and head over to Geisha, the sort of side of the map that they didn't truly explore in terms of a way of taking across. It means you've got to play that funnel, which we talked about before, around Drum, around that hefty middle space where the Dragon is too, which makes things very awkward, but at least it lets you get in the building.
You definitely need to get that clash away from that tunnel area, just from that balcony, because if the clash is playing there, there's no way you will be entering safely. You will be opening up that wall without a challenge. And, well, whereas BDS have left it soft on one of them, it means that just a simple impact or some skeleton key shots from vertical could be opening it up. But then there's still that clash that will slow you down if you try and swing that way, that will maybe find you caught off by the side players.
There it is, the
jammer.
flash and the mute jammer to stop the air jab. Okay, there's the bit of the change, and there's almost the catch, and this is what I talked about. If you're a clash, you just sort of pull your way back round. It becomes a battle for attrition, and Mew's quickly ran the numbers, and he's not happy with the result. So instead, they're going to see if they can try and at least draw some attention once again. Elsewhere, once again, maybe towards the bottom of Shaiko, where he's sort of holding onto the stair set. He was pressured before. The opener at the top of the stair set was one where he was entirely caught unaware, and well, they might try and lead in here. The pressure under the wall, he's concerned someone's going to try and bite back, but it seems like nobody wants to.
Don't really mind. They're giving that wall away to the side of OXG again. As long as the clash is alive, they can go quite aggressively out there, slow them if they do decide to swing upon that breach, and that allows those side players to get an advantage on those players out there. Vertical, however, from below could be playing a crucial role with opening up some verticalities from below.
That's it. It was a bit of a risky play there, just sort of going solo and getting it open. But as I said, BDS didn't seem to really want to conflict it. They were like, okay, yeah, cool, you can have that space. It got the wall open, and the Candelas are going to see if they can try and push a little bit further. All of them thrown. And the last one connects round, but a team flash means they can't truly move behind it. The last cooked a little bit. The Clash says, no, not this time. And Playday says the same. Drop locked and shotgunned off. And there's Shaiko finding Vert underneath as well, the cover on the stairs. Less than a minute left now, and they're still going to see if they can try and push behind the back of the failed push already. Renshiro, he's not under any pressure there from the other side. Lax sure is, as the Clash is still making sure that every single second, every single site is one that is met by electricity.
A lot of utility used here by the side of Oxygen, but they weren't able to move through because of that electric shield. Playday finds another kill. It's only up to Lax and Fox now to try and lock it off, to try and find these 5 French players trying to stop them from happening, and Lax coming from behind might just do that with the Clash.
There's it. There's that huge rotate I talked about, the options that it can offer here before, and well, it's the only option they have left. A triple for Playday, and at least one picked up back here. There's the Clash. That's going to be the call on Intel. You don't even have the time to get into the site. BDS, they are sitting on map point.
One more round, and BDS is going to be able to take that first map away from Oxygen and find themselves one leg into the semi-finals. And again, the Clash here, I mean, they struggled with it. They opened up the wall, but they were always allowed to. BDS didn't really care. I mean, they left the wall soft for a soft breach to be used on it. The idea is that as soon as they do want to go through that breach, the Clash steps out. The Clash starts using that CCE shield, and you will be moving in slow, like, for example, a Banshee being out there. The only difference is you cannot quite shoot the Clash, where you can shoot the Banshee nowadays. So it didn't really work out for the side of Oxygen. Luckily for them, they probably won't have to go back there again, unless, of course, they reach it to OT, which will be their goal. And that gives them a little bit of opportunity to think about a counter they could use for that instance.
We return on a BDS defense to karaoke, but the last 2 times we were here, OXG grabbed the mic and threw it on the ground alongside the kit as well, even against all of the pressure that BDS were able to mount. It was a last-ditch effort, which was the first and a success. And the second, well, they barely seemed to put in effort, and they still absolutely brushed BDS's side. It was so collected. And at this point, you're wondering, okay, BDS, what's your change? Because theirs was to get better, smoother, cleaner, and faster, and hit you harder. So you've got to see if you can at least try and change the track to something that you can at least sing along with.
That's what they will be trying to go for here indeed. And a lot of mute jammers are being set up around the exhibition area. It is going to be to stop these drones for freely moving through. So a roamer can be out there in terms of Rafale, for example, just to try and find an early entry, just to try and find that first kill. Newest gets taken out by LMs, and that might be a very crucial kill for BDS.
He has sort of drifted a little bit away from his skill at the opener. He can't quite get the same connection on attack as he did so frequently on defense here, and it's a bit of a cost, but it's also a big bit of pressure. The first time playing on a stage like this is always going to be a moment that brings you in, but as they said on the desk, He's the man that knows what he can do, and you know he's going to keep trying to step it back up vertical. He's finding his way here across the side itself, caught on a drone, but they've been able to get themselves in. The early take means BDS can pull themselves back a little, and as I said before, this corner is very often a big hold and point for EU teams.
Definitely is, and as vertical starts to open up, some rotations for the side of Oxygen to save time. You look at it with only being 100 seconds left for Oxygen to try and tie this up, to try and make sure that this becomes a 6-6 overtime where they could go for that first map. BDS, of course, will look to try and prevent that, and as they drone out the mezzanines, they know there is a lot of clarity here. Oxygen can move into these positions. The true challenge, though, will be coming onto the T room.
Hit behind the drum in a minute 20 to see if they can try and make it beaten away towards the site that gives them at least an OT here. It's the opening map, but when you're this close to taking your opponents, you really want to push it over the edge. BDS, they're holding on. They're making sure they're not going to overextend. And as this intel game I talked about before that's been so good, might be about to net itself a reward here, an unexpected catch, and a very easy one. Alems taken out by Vertical. The fight there on the main stairs. He's been able to swing his way around. The hallway is his. He's going to pull himself a little bit further back. Doesn't want to overextend because Shaiko in the meantime is under huge amount of pressure there from the top of the opposite side. It's all the way from the back. Vertical with a triple. Vertical with a quad. And now he just has one more to find, and it is an ace!
Vertical with the ace will keep Oxygen in it here, and they will make sure we're headed towards overtime. 2 more rounds now for either of these two teams to lock it off. And as the cheers come through, Oxygen are starting to get in it. Yeah, keep it up.
We go to OT, and we find, a great fight back. Okay, Vertical pulling an ace to get you into that situation. It's kind of something that we haven't really got during this major, because coming into this tournament, he was the top-rated player. He was the one that was everybody's eyes on. Let's see what he can do for a lot of people, and, well, he was doing it not quite as well, but here, when it matters the most, he takes us into this OT, and it's down to BDS to see if they can at least try and keep it going. With how this map has swung back and forth, it's not really easy to tell who has the preference here. But BDS tying a couple of defenses together, maybe there's something.
Maybe there is, but the exhibition is up next. And time again, Oxygen have struggled to deal with what is the clash that is being played by BDS. Now, have they found something? Do they know a way to get rid of it? What we saw the first round is the air jets being used to try and get rid of that clash, make sure you blast back. Second round, BDS used a mute jammer to make sure that those do not work. And again, that is being put down, as you can see right here. Then they tried to use these stun grenades on Fox, on the Zofia. Now, Rafal, of course, in a position where he could easily fall back, so maybe Oxygen, they need to be entering from that Geisha side to truly put on the pressure from behind, and that's exactly what Newers is looking to do.
That's it. I said it before. It could be a way to get into the building, because that's when OXG plays really, really well. They got themselves a bit stuck outside before. A lot of focus on a couple of walls, and sure, they're important for the takes, but when you know you can drive some pressure against this team, get in and get that pressure applied from a slightly different surface. And here you can see the Clash is now forced to rotate. They're stacked up, they're paying attention elsewhere, but suddenly you've opened up a little bit of a gap, a little bit of a hole where they don't have as much locked in. The grenade doesn't get the clash. They're able to pull themselves back. They're more than aware of that, but as a huge rotate comes through there from OXG, they've sort of said, well, we've got half the map. Let's see what else we can do with it.
I mean, that's it, right? I kind of realized that outside balcony's out of bounds. They're not really going to be able to do anything there. So instead, let's push from the mezzanines. Let's take Dragon. Let's take Terrace and see if we can knock on the front door that way. As Ventura is struggling getting some of these drones here. The Clash will most likely reposition as well with a site wall of VIP to be opened up, but there's 2 members of BDS hiding around that corner.
I mean, both of them are a little bit double stacked and stuff there. They're hoping they don't get entirely fed through. Renshiro, he's tucked in a close corners. He's maybe opting for the fight. Vertical's going to see if he can get the grenade round. He knows where it is, and he just caught him out the window. Trade from Laxing was there a little bit too late, but close enough to get it, and Lems can't quite find the same success. They're able to take care the man who drove them into this overtime. And Renshiro, is it a worthy trade? Is it going to be something that pulls them off? Because there's still a lot of possibility on the side of OXG.
55 seconds on that clock. Who will take this first round of this overtime? Laxing is getting very close to some of these BDS players here. Just a single misstep will give them an entry again onto this side. But with 40 seconds left on the clock, Shaiko goes down. Oxygen in a 4-on-3.
Dream once again finding an important kill, and Laxing finds one of his own. Newers can't get the full catch there. Alems finishes off the man with the kit, and there is Box though, and there is Laxing. OXG, they take the first of OT. They are one round away from taking BDS's map.
And they managed to beat them on exhibition, the side where they struggled time and time again when the clash seemed to be unbeatable. They found a way around it now. And listen to that. Give them your strength, give them your energy, as it is an overtime match point now. Oxygen, will you take Skyscraper?
Bedroom bathroom is where we're going to find ourselves. And this was an OXG sort of mid-round pick. It was fully successful. It was where they kind of had themselves locked in, but it was built on a bit of a scrappiness and a bit of confusion from the side of BDS of how to approach. OXG are going to see if they can double down on that. It was kind of a learning game. From BDS, we saw them grow into sites that they'd otherwise lost before. Karaoke and Barbecue were obviously starts for OXG, and then losses towards the end. This is the only site we didn't see twice from them, and this is the only site that they didn't lose.
Let's see if they can keep on to that again. Emmy, what have BDS learned? They have been playing onto the other side for a very long time, onto that defense. It's been 7 rounds since they were on the attack. And we're seeing a Kali coming out from the side of Rafal. A one-shot kill weapon in that sniper rifle. Is it going to be successful is the question. Some long angles can be held off with that 12-time zoom scope. But they do need to have a peek to at least be able to use it.
Waiting for the C4 over the window here. There's a bit of a pre-fire. Fox is crawling. He might go for a catch. No. He thinks a little bit better of it. He tried to flirt with danger, but he tries to flirt with a lot of things.
2 minutes 20. LM's in the building near the sushi area, looking to be pushing up, looking to find an entry here. He knows it's on that bottom floor and will now be crossing a bit of danger here because there is that overhanging gloom and doom as he is slowly headed towards those the living room stairs. So there is someone on the back of him. Does he know? Is he aware? He's just hiding in the corner.
He's holding on. He's waiting and hope someone goes over for the hop on the wall or just to rotate, and they're not doing it, but they're not entirely sure. Do they know where he is? You can see Shaiko's making a move, but look on the far side of your screen. You can see an OXG player ready to do the same thing, round on the back as soon as the pressure comes through, the ping on the soft wall. Oh, the hard even. They're going to see if they can try and get this breached open. That will give the game away, that they're going for something sneaky, so you got to try and make the catch happen. They're hoping they're rewarded and gifted, but that's not coming through. So, pull of the pin might at least start that approach. The bounce of the grenade, it does a huge amount of damage to 2 of the players. You can hear the wall start to get popped open as well. Suddenly BDS says we're here. We're going to see if we can get a little bit further along. The drone's round, the bit of rotation comes around and behind and over the top of them. They want to hop through this window, but again, OXG is staying a bit far away.
It's going to be the trick coming through there at the moment. Playday wants to go for the exothermic, and that makes it a little bit different and difficult here as Alems takes some damage on the back.
That was it from the mezzanine, the player I was talking about before. He's still up there hanging around on the side of Drum. He knows that he can apply the pressure whenever he wants, and it's a problem that BDS have to deal with. The pop of the stuns over the top. They actually swing into it with the C4. It's a late gift, but it doesn't quite get the full finish on Alems, who's massively injured. 50 seconds. And Renshiro wants to get in with the sledge and do some damage, but as long as there's players up there, there's not really much further he can go. 40 seconds. BDS, they're still calculating, but a lot of concern.
There's even a frost mat underneath that window. The Kali explosive lens will get rid of the bandit wires. This will open up the wall that Fox is right behind. He doesn't realize he's going to be having the wall open upon him. This might be a rush from BDS to try for a last effort here.
I mean, 30 seconds. If anything else, it's got to be. And there's a return. Shaiko is able to find the first here. BDS, they've got an opener, and you can start to see the Kali try and break their way through. It's vertical. He bikes back, but is instantly picked back up by Alems. They still have the control above, and the stair set itself. A big rotate from Newers round onto the opposite side. Laxing's trying to go fishing down a hatch, but he can't get the full catch. There it is! The kid is cold! There's a handful of seconds. They get it back in their pocket. You're looking at only 2 players standing. Alems has everything to cover, but BDS has it locked out. It is OXG that take BDS's map.
And there it is, that they were a map point behind, but they're able to bring it back. An ace to keep them in the game. 2 rounds right afterwards as well, with an 8-6 victory. And that is one. And now one more map to go before they're headed towards the semi-finals.
We're gonna let them bask in this. You can hear it at home. I don't know how much of this audio was picked up, but this is an audience happy to see some NA success, and that's some NA players happy to be living in and amongst it. BDS, their first map on theme, their first map on Skyscraper even is a bit of a stumble. But where we head next after a quick break, Desk